So I'm somebody who went through a gender transition as a minor. I was 12, around the age of 12, when I started experiencing gender dysphoria and feeling that maybe I wasn't a girl. And this whole time I was actually my mom and dad's son. And I started going through the process of socially transitioning slowly and silently. I never really told anybody until I was a few months in that I was identifying as a boy. That
This is when you were 12?
Yeah. I changed my name. I started cutting my hair shorter, and I started wearing boys' clothes. And eventually one day I decided that I wanted to let my family know, and I came out to my parents, and they weren't really sure what to do about this. And so they brought me to therapy, expecting that, well, since it's a psychological issue, that surely they would treat it with therapy and that the underlying issues would be resolved, right? Mm-hmm. But instead they were pushed into transitioning me. They were told that there was no other option but to transition me, and if I didn't go through transitioning, then I would kill myself.
The therapist said this?
Yes.
Unbelievable. And so what happened then?
They didn't
follow through. Your parents were confused.
They were not only confused, but they were scared of losing their kid. They were given the ultimatum of, well, if you don't have a live trans son, then you'll have a dead daughter.
And so what did they do then?
They let the doctors go through with it, and really the course was pretty much led by me as the patient. I started taking puberty blockers and testosterone barely at the age of 13, just 6 months after being diagnosed with gender dysphoria. And then at 15, the summer after my sophomore year, I underwent a double mastectomy. They removed my breasts.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
I didn't know that part of it. I knew the first part of your story. And when did you come around to the realization that this wasn't necessarily what you wanted?
Yeah, it wasn't until after the surgery that I started experiencing regret and realizing how transitioning was negatively impacting my life. I realized that socially I was missing out on a lot of things. Because I was presenting myself as a boy, I looked like any other boy my age, and I was still attracted to men. So my dating pool was very limited. All my other friends were starting to get into relationships. They were getting their first boyfriends and girlfriends. And I was always the third wheel. I felt very lonely.
Hi, I'm Melinda, and I'm here to say that Trump is very anti-American. He's anti-American, he's pro-violence, and he's pro-war.
Give one example where he's pro-war.
Well, he's very pro-war when it comes to sowing division within the American people itself. So, in a recent interview, I think was at Fox News, he talked about the enemy within. He also talking about...
he's been shot at twice. And is it fair to call that? Is that fair to call somebody who's shooting at him an enemy? Is that a fair game or not?
By a fellow Republican.
Well, hold on.
So they were Republican. They were registered Republican.
Ryan Ruth was not a registered Republican. And
yes,
by the way, it should not matter who their party affiliation is. We should agree that if someone gets shot at and he mentions enemy within, he probably gets a pass on that, yeah?
I mean, people also shot at Mussolini, right? But
do you think Trump and Mussolini are moral equivalents?
Well, that wasn't the example here.
No, you brought up Mussolini, I didn't.
Well, yeah, the reason why I brought up Mussolini is because obviously we know that people who we call that pro-war...
But just to John Trump's quote on that was just sort of leveling just on the same facts.
Yeah.
He said, these radical lunatics are the enemy within. He has been shot at twice. I would call those people radical lunatics who are enemy within. Do you disagree with that characterization?
By his own side. But when he was talking about the lunatics within... Am I too close to the mic? Or?
No, I'm just...
Go ahead.
He was not shot at by his own side.
They were registered Republicans.
No, again, Ryan Ruth was not a registered Republican.
Yeah, he was.
No, he was not. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
He donated.
Anyone who shoots at you is not on your side.
Again.
There's also common talking point when it comes to talking. A common talking point Republicans have is that there was no new wars when he was.
Yeah. What war did he start?
Well, when it comes to no new wars, he assassinated Soleimani.
No, that's not a war. That's a specific military action. What was the war that Trump started?
Well, there was no war that Joe Biden started either.
Well, of course there was. He financed the Russian-Ukrainian war, and he
who invaded Ukraine? Was it Russia or America?
How much do you know about the Istanbul meeting 5 days into the war between Tony Blinken, Boris Johnson, and the Russian ambassador? So
I'm not sure, but did
you don't
America
know. That's
invade
fine.
Ukraine? Or
Hold on
did
a second,
Russia
because
invade
we
Ukraine?
actually had a chance to have a peace deal 5 days into the war, and it was the United States of America that came in and blew up the peace deal in Istanbul, Turkey. The audience will tell you I'm right. It was our own government that wanted the war to continue. So that's Joe Biden's war.
Well, no, there's more to that. It's a little hot outside, so I can't do my research right now. But when it comes to
Why does the
this,
temperature impact your research? I don't understand.
Well, it's hot outside. I've been here all day, so my brain's a little fuzzy. So, number one, when it comes to like this idea that Trump is anti-war or there was no new wars under Trump,
He's anti-war.
There was plenty of wars that were going on during Trump's time.
Can you name them?
And
though?
he's also very pro. Dictators, like he's friends with Kim Jong-un. He talks highly.
So we were on the verge of war with North Korea when Barack Obama left the Oval Office. The thing he told Donald Trump is our top threat is North Korea. I don't care if Donald Trump calls Kim Jong-un a friend or not. He got us off the brink of war with North Korea, which is actually what I care about.
We were not really on the brink of war when it comes to
it's correct.
Barack Obama thought we were.
Obama said to
really.
Donald Trump, you need to watch out for two things, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn and North Korea. That were the only two things Obama said to him in Obama's own telling of events in that short Oval Office meeting. So Obama even said North Korea is your number one threat.
Well, I disagree with Obama. North Korea was not our number one threat. North Korea is an ant compared to America.
Let me ask you, you're anti-war? Are you anti-war?
Very anti.
Okay, do you believe the Russia-Ukraine war needs to come to an end?
Yes, Russia needs
Which
to
is
end
the
it.
candidate which has said that we need to end the Russia-Ukraine war? Which is the candidate who said we need to continue funding the Russia-Ukraine war?
Trump is for backing up Putin.
Trump is for ending the Russia-Ukraine war. That's what he said. Kamala Harris is continuing to fund the Russia-Ukraine war and said she would continue to vote in favor of it.
She's
Under which candidate was there a major war in the Middle East? Was there a major war in the Middle East under Donald Trump?
To the first point, when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, America is funding the Ukraine because of an agreement we had in 2014. We're holding up a peace treaty with NATO that if any country who wants to join
NATO... Is Ukraine part of NATO?
I was about to finish. If any country who wants to be a part of NATO gets sort of bombarded from imperialist other countries like Russia, we have to, as our duty, and it's not just America giving Ukraine money, as our duty signed in the treaty that we have with them, we have to give them some type of funding.
Yeah, so look, there's the NATO treaty that actually says we're going to defend a NATO ally. Article 5, that doesn't apply to Ukraine because Ukraine is not a member of NATO.
I know what you're talking about.
Why was Ukraine not a member yet? Because Russia invaded them.
That's not
because
correct.
They wanted to be
No, Ukraine should never... Do you think Ukraine should be part of NATO?
Yes, of course.
Whoa, okay, that's remarkable.
Yeah, of course.
So the U.S. actually made a commitment back in 1990 to say that NATO would expand not 1 inch past East Germany. Our Secretary of State made that commitment to his counterpart in... Actually, it was Gorbachev who led the Soviet Union. So... we've actually, in some ways, been responsible for creating the conditions that have created global instability, but that's actually gone up under Joe Biden. So I'm with you on being anti-war. I'll just look at what were the major wars under Donald Trump. We still haven't named one. What are the major wars under Joe Biden? We have several, from what's going on in the Middle East, Israel, Hamas, to Russia, Ukraine, and I judge based on results.
Clarifying question.
I think this lady is a perfect example of a little knowledge is dangerous. A little knowledge is dangerous. A lot of these kids, they never really want to understand or to engage in a debate respectfully. They never do. It's as if they say, if I don't think that you hear me, I will shout louder and I will insult you. Most of them, I will mince words and complain like the problem is you and not me. How sad. It's as if they are doing everything from a script, you know? It's crazy. Because they are always after a gotcha moment. I got you. I have won the debate. That's what they want, so that they can post the videos on TikTok or somewhere. It's crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth hurts. And guess what? Facts don't care about feelings. Facts don't care about feelings. No, it doesn't.
When you say new wars under Joe Biden, is that implying that Joe Biden started these wars?
No,
they occurred under his administration.
And supported and subsidized them.
So,
and paid for them.
For example, Donald Trump prevented an Israeli-Hamas war.
How?
Through the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords was bringing all the people to the table, cut Palestinian Authority funding, also cut Iranian funding so that the Iran piggy bank could not fund terror throughout the region, brought Saudi Arabia, the United Emirates, Bahrain, and Israel in the room, and signed a historic once-in-a-generation peace deal between those Arab partners and Israel, and that region was the quietest it ever was in 50 years. With Russia, Ukraine, he told Vladimir Putin, you go into Ukraine, I will bomb Moscow immediately. It's interesting, under George W. Bush, Vladimir Putin took Georgia. Under Obama, he took Crimea. Under Biden, he took the Donbass. Under Trump, he didn't take anything. Why is that? Under Trump, Vladimir Putin did not gain a square inch of new territory. Why is that?
Trump literally talks about deals that or secret meetings that he had.
But it's just a very simple question. If Trump was bought by Putin or was friends with Putin, why did Putin not expand his country under Trump? And every other president he expanded his country under.
What do you mean?
So under Bush, Russia got bigger. Under Obama, Russia got bigger. Under Biden, Russia got bigger. Under Trump, Russia stayed the same. Why is that?
Russia didn't stay the same. They tried to invade Ukraine.
No,
not under Trump.
Not under Trump. That invasion was in February 2022.
Trump supports Putin.
He doesn't actually. It's interesting.
He talks about how good Putin was.
No, he believes in diplomacy. For example, do you believe that FDR was right in partnering with Joseph Stalin to defeat Hitler?
Yes.
Okay, so at times you have to partner with really bad people for a broader goal. That is called.
But Ukraine is not the enemy.
Well, we're not saying that. You know who is the enemy? China is the enemy.
And Russia.
Well, Russia's not the enemy exactly. How many of your friends have died because of Russians?
How many of your friends died because of Ukraine?
A lot of your friends have died here because of the cartels. And we don't call them an enemy. And they are an enemy within. So when Donald Trump is talking about the enemy within, he's talking about the cartels that are here, that are poisoning our streets with drugs, that are bringing illegal guns into the country. That is the enemy within. Yet we say Russia is an enemy. Russia has never attacked the United States of America.
There is proof that Russia has been funding far-right groups in America. Russia is also very tied to a lot of prominent right-leaning figures. There's a lot of Russian money. Funding and right-wing
In order
circles?
to play that out, first of all, you're talking about like a couple right-wing podcasters that received Russian cash.
Not a couple.
Just so we're clear, Hillary Clinton received money from the mayor of Moscow's wife. So did Hunter Biden. They give money all across the political spectrum. But I just want to be very clear because I think it's important. Can you show me one new ground war that started under Donald Trump for his 4 years?
There was no new wars under Joe Biden either that he started.
Well,
Ukraine, Russia, and the Hamas-Israel war started under Joe Biden's watch. Do you believe it's the job? Do you believe it's the job of the United States Commander-in-Chief to lead by securing peace and reducing risk for the United States? Do you believe that? I think you probably do.
Of course.
And do you believe that you should judge a president based on their results or based on their words?
Both.
Okay. So I judge based on results. And on the basis of those results, we had no new wars under Donald Trump. We have at least 2 major new wars under Biden. And for my part, I don't care whether Donald Trump calls some other world leader a friend or not. What I care about is whether he's advancing American interests.
Trump
That's
also
what wins in the
talks
end.
about putting more funding into Israel to further the genocide of the Palestinians.
What do you think is important for the country?
I think, well...
Pick your top 2 issues. What are the top 2 issues for the country?
The top 2 issues for the country is
what do you want to see happen in the next 4 years?
Getting rid of disinformation and also securing more hope in our system.
So disinformation is protected by the First Amendment. You would agree?
Yes. Disinformation when it comes to news outlets is what I'm mainly talking about.
So you and I both agree we should pull CNN's broadcasting license.
More like Fox News.
No, that's the point, is that all of a sudden, CNN has a right to be able to do what they do. Fox has a right
Fox News is actually currently, I think about a year ago, is going through a defamatory
do you think that
court case.
Do you think that it should be legal to have different opinions? Of course you do. So where
Illegal?
Legal.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm mainly talking about news corporations, or like news outlets, and also big media figures who can spin sort of disinformation, and that can swing the election. For example, like Elon Musk targeting people on his platform that are liberal and targeting or like pushing out.
Why should that be illegal?
Because he's trying to sway the election.
So he's a citizen. Should Taylor Swift not be able to speak about? She's swaying the election.
Well, no.
How is Taylor Swift and Elon Musk different? She's far more popular than Elon Musk.
Because Elon Musk on his platform is prohibiting information about Kamala Harris.
No, he's not.
So
Yes, he
let me
is.
just say one thing. We're all against disinformation here, but let me just ask you two pieces of disinformation that we know are disinformation. Where did the pandemic begin?
In China.
In a lab?
No.
You don't think it began in a lab in China, because that's not widely accepted that that's where it began. Yet if you
No.
said that in 2020, and I don't blame you, I blame the fact that we created disinformation in this country.
Yeah, you're a victim of disinformation.
Because it was created in a lab?
It was created in a lab in
Not
Wuhan.
in a bat cave. Yeah.
And I don't even blame you. I don't even blame you because the government stopped you from being able to know that. So right now we're having a conversation where you believe that the pandemic did not begin, that COVID-19 did not begin in a lab in China, because guess what? That's exactly what our government required you to believe.
What
if anybody
evidence do
said
you
it
have
did,
that
they
was
required it to
created
be
in a lab?
censored.
What
Well,
evidence do you have that was created in a lab?
you have actually you now actually have
It's
the
a
genetics
lot.
of the virus to be able to go back to actually the lab that was manipulating a non-human virus. So it was never a naturally occurring virus. The only way that they now know based on the genes.
SARS is not a naturally occurring virus?
SARS-CoV-2.
SARS-CoV-2 is not.
It's current.
How?
Again,
It spreads. It was designed to spread more rapidly, which is exactly why it did. But suffice to say that now at least every major scientist or medical researcher today who said 2 years ago that it did not believes this is the most likely origin of the pandemic, and yet most of the public, including even yourself, believes what the government told us 2 years ago. That's actual disinformation.
And it's always my greatest desire and hope that these youngsters, they will quickly identify and discover the truth before it's too late, so that they can live peaceable lives full of meaning and purpose. Because these guys, they are the future leaders of our communities, families, and the nation. And I also think that this lady is a perfect example of Democrat liberal thought. Yeah, she will ask for answers, but only interested in the answers that she wants to hear. Yeah, and I think also that two things that liberals are most afraid of is personal responsibility and an educated person. Ooh, they are so afraid of those people. Educated people and personal responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, the real enemy has completely blinded this young lady's mind. And she has no idea that she's misinformed. Typical CNN viewers and mainstream media. How sad. And sometimes the way that this lady responded there is a result of a programming. Yeah. It's as if she has been conditioned to think the way that she thinks. Because you'd find out a lot of young people, especially in the universities, they also think the same way. They also think the same way. Then you wonder, what are colleges really teaching our kids these days? What are they teaching the kids? Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays, mainstream media has become the enemy, especially to what is true and right. Mainstream media is not the enemy. And that's terrible because it didn't always used to be so. It didn't. It didn't. That lady, I don't think she really wanted actual answers. No. She just wanted to point fingers and then run before her arguments were thoroughly challenged. Maybe that's what she wanted. And guess what will happen? People will applaud her. They will say, well done. And then she will go back home and then she will tell her friends, did you just saw what I did? I owned those guys. I destroyed those conservatives. Yes, I did. I won the argument. How sad. How terrible. These people want to be their own God and judge others for preaching good news, for also standing on good news. And I say these people because she just represents a lot of people. And it's sad, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not judging this lady. No, of course not. She has right to her own opinion. But I just wished and hoped she could really see the issues clearly. Yeah, because how you make decisions on small matters, it's exactly how you will make decisions on bigger matters. Yeah, Remember the words of Jesus in Mark 16:15. He said, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel, preach the good news to every creature. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, and whoever does not believe will be condemned." So, ladies and gentlemen, it's always important to preach good news, to speak truth, like what Charlie does, to speak truth, because truth can set any man free. Doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter their age, how old they are. It doesn't matter, as long as if they can hear truth and believe it, they can be saved. Yeah. So kudos to Charlie for what he does. It's really inspiring because he's always standing in the gap, being a parent that a lot of kids do not seem to have nowadays. And I thank God for him for that. Absolutely. And my greatest desire is that this lady will get to also know the truth, and live a peaceable life in Christ, one that is full of joy, grace, and victory all the days of her life, so that she can live a life full of purpose and fulfillment. Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to also click on the next one, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll be seeing you. Bye-bye for now.